Hello, this is Brexit Mapman here, coming to you from a secret location in northwest London. The title of this video today is called The Importance of Q. I know that some of you are religious, some of you are not, some of you are somewhere in between. And all of those things are good, because at the end of the day, we're here because this is where our consciences have led us. We fought for Brexit, and we're now fighting the fight between good and evil in one way or another. I think we've all come to that conclusion, and that's very relevant to Q. Why is it relevant to Q? Because if you really stop and think about it, there are parallels between Q and faith and religion. Because if you follow Q, what are you following? You're following messages that come from someone that you don't know exists, an invisible entity. It could be a person or a group of people, but you just have faith that they are there. There are cryptic messages coming out that are difficult to understand. They're full of symbolism and numbers, and really only kind of special kind of people are really seem to be able to interpret them, anons. And there is a belief that through this, a messianic figure, Donald Trump, although obviously he's not the Messiah, otherwise we'd be all in trouble, but he has that kind of a role, will, through this information and through this knowledge and through what's going to happen through this, will destroy evil, the evil people, bring them all to justice and judge them, put them in the fires of hell or Guantanamo Bay or somewhere, and destroy evil in the world, liberate us all, and create a good world. Now, to me, that sounds pretty similar to what's in there. An invisible being who communicates messages through cryptically through various passages in books that have been put together over the generations. With a timetable and communicated through special people, prophets and so on, a messianic figure who comes at the end of days and liberates everyone, judges the evil and destroys the evil and brings about a good world. Well, I would say those two things have parallels, very clear parallels. And the thing is this, though, there is a big difference, because the Q phenonema comes about from Donald Trump when he was elected in 2016, and is really for this time period. I mean, when Donald Trump is no longer president of America, probably that will be the end of Q, or even before, if all the things that are predicted come true. Then Q and the identity of Q will be revealed, and so on. Whereas the Bible talks about this over a great span of time. But there are three things which are equally true for both of these, and the three mantras really of the Q movement are this: trust the plan, where we go one, we go all, and the Great Awakening. Now, again, there's a similar thing. You're supposed to have, if you follow the Christianity in particular, or Judaism, you believe there's a plan, that God has a plan, and that you have to have faith in it, and you follow the central figures which God sends, and there's a brotherhood, so to speak, brother and sisterhood. We're all one, and so on. and there will be a great revelation, there will be a great awakening, a resurrection, and so on. And we have to believe in those three things. And so that's what I want to talk about today in relation to Q. Not so much the Bible, although I will talk about the parallels actually. And so that is the message today. It's not about the identity of Q. I know some of you were, hoping for that. I'm not going to give you that one. But the importance, because the importance of Q is about what we're going to do and what it means for us, and what we are going to do. This is really the importance and the most essential thing that we need to understand about Q. It is very real, in my opinion. I mean, certainly it's a message that has come to us through one means or another. Whatever it is, it's a phenomena that's driving the Trump train. And the Trump train is what's supporting Trump, and Trump is the man at the moment who's yielding the axe to the rotten tree of the deep state and the cabal and the one world government people. He is the one who is cutting down that tree right in front of our very eyes. And the Q movement is essential, and has been essential in the Trump train. So we have to understand, actually, what doesn't matter what you think, whether you believe it or not. It has been very, very important in motivating and driving the Trump train and all the passengers who ride on the Trump train. So let's talk about Q drops. Q drops. So what are Q drops? Are the phrases and the numbers, the code, if you will, that appear on the internet from who knows where, and sometimes codes that seem to be in Donald Trump's tweets, which are signs, or supposedly signs, of events that are about to happen or may have just happened. And those who have the ability to decode Q drops, anons, will communicate to us what those things are. Now, of course, it's always debatable, and people don't really know, and it's usually after the fact. But if you look at it, you will find that that they're quite impressive. Some of these connections. However, what really is the use of a message that is given to you that at the time that you receive it, you can't do anything with? I mean, it's just nice information. I mean, if someone calls you up and gives you a message, an important message, get out of the house, someone's coming to kill you, well, then to do a runner or get your guns out, whatever. And that's a useful message. But if you've got a message that you can't understand, it's not very useful to you. So what is the point of Q drops from that perspective? Well, of course, it's mainly about encouragement. It's about keeping faith. Because think about this. If by now you don't realize that we are engaged in a struggle between good and evil, you're living under a rock. You don't need to be a religious person to understand what's going on. We have very, very evil people who want to do us over. And that's the bottom line here. And we've got other people, hopefully on our side, who and ourselves, who are going to resist this. Now, anyone who knows anything about war, that they say there's a saying that goes, war is 90% sitting around being bored and 10% of sheer terror. And that is the case in war. Most of it is maneuvering, preparing, and tactical, activities before the decisive battles that take place. And the actual battles are really a very small amount of the whole effort in a war. In fact, in general, that is the case. So, therefore, what is the purpose? What is the job of a general or commander in wars? Is in those long periods before things happen, is to keep their army, their personnel, keep their faith up, keep their faith, keep their hope, keep their commitment, keep their unity, keep their obedience to the commander, ready for action. And this is what the purpose of the leaders of the troops are in a war. And keeping up morale, that is the very important factor. So the messages that come through from Q drops, people spend a lot of time reading them, scratching their heads, trying to figure out what they mean, and then get absorbed in these things. But people are so fixated on these things that they've missed the main message. In fact, there are 3 main messages that are being communicated to us from Q. And those 3 messages are in the 3 mantras that come through to us all the time. And the first one is, trust the plan. The second is, where we go one, we go all. And the third message is, the Great Awakening. It's not just a title, it's a message. Because after all, have you ever thought, well, what is the Great Awakening exactly? Is it something that's about to happen? Is it something that is happening? Something that's already happened? And what is it that people have been awakened to? So these are 3 messages. These are the main messages from Q to us, to the general population, to the general patriot movement in America and the United Kingdom. So the first one is, trust the plan. And of course, this is very important. This is a very important message. Why? Because people look particularly to Donald Trump at this time, and they say, well, this is the guy that's going to sort the problems out. But along the way, it's not always easy to see what's happening, and certainly you look at the guy and you think, well, is he doing the right thing? Is he making the right decisions? Or is he really on our side? And so on and so on. I think in the recent weeks, there's been less of that because he's been doing all the right things. But even still, along the way, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, you will see people questioning, why is he standing next to Fauci? Why hasn't he fired Fauci? Why hasn't he done this? Why hasn't he done that? And so on. And so, of course, the message, trust the plan, is stay with a man, of course. And the reason why a commander has to keep his troops believing that there is a plan and that the commander knows what he's doing is because when it comes for the moment of action, the people have to be primed, they have to be ready, they have to have faith, they have to be ready to go, because there will be a moment of action. It's the moment of action that is the most important thing. But if the commander says, right, there's the enemy, they're coming, I've set everything up already, all the guns are in place, And he says, right man, charge. And then he turns round and they're all sitting around, they're all wandering around, or they're all confused, they don't know what's going on. Well, that's it, game over. He's dead meat and the war is lost. So of course, this is the trust the plan is the mantra that is given to Anons or non-Anons, because most of us are not Anons in reality. People might think they are, but an Anon is someone who's working on the messages. But there is also a danger in this message that people don't realize. Trust the plan. Now, I've seen people putting messages out on Twitter and so on. Oh yeah, trust the plan. Means, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. You know, just sit back and watch the show. And this is a big, big mistake. And this is the message that I have today. It's one of the main messages I have today. Trust the plan is not sit down and wait for something to happen or wait for someone else to do something, because we're in a war and you're in the army, right? Whether you like it or not, you have been drafted. Your conscience has drafted you into the army. You're here now. The reason you're watching this, the reason you watch the videos that you watch, the reason you talk to the people that you talk to is because you're in the army. And your conscience has brought you into that army. And so there will come a time when we are called to action. And that time is not far off. It's very, very close. So this is the warning I have. And this is very much, and when we do the comparison with faith and religion, there are many Christians who say, believe in Jesus, and you're going to be fine. You're going to go to heaven. And Jesus is going to come from the sky and he's going to wave a magic wand and make the world all right, get rid of the bad people, all the good people are going to live in the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, and that's it, game over. All you have to do is believe, just sit there and wait. But this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong, and it's a dangerous doctrine. In fact, it's an evil doctrine, it's a satanic doctrine, it's a socialist doctrine, and any Christians, if you're watching this, I'm telling you, you are wrong. And you might say, Mr. Brexit man, that's heresy. It says in the Bible, you must believe in Jesus. Well, I'm telling you, yes, you must believe in Jesus. But however, let me tell you, I will read to you the words of the Lord Jesus Christ himself. He says in Matthew 7:7, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And he goes on to say, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you, depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. So even Christians fall into the same trap, that all you have to do is believe in the plan. That's all. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, within Christianity, Jesus said that thy will be done, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God's kingdom will be built on earth and built. So who's going to do that? He's not going to do it on his own. People have to help. And so those who are not doing the will of God in Christianity, according to Jesus, they're not going to be the good people. And those who don't believe, if they're doing the will of God, which is to destroy evil, right? You don't even have to believe in God to understand that is necessary, because God speaks in our conscience. And so those who come to the fight, whatever they believe, they come to the fight, they come to the front line, then they're doing the will of God, destroying evil, then they're doing better than those Christians who are in church going, Lord, Lord, and so. But this is a similar phenomena that we get with the Q believers. Just believe in the plan, but this is a dangerous thing, and the reason why is because you're led to believe in the plan so that you are ready for the day of action. The day of action. You do not expect that the central figure will do everything for you. He'll do the dirty work, he'll do the main work, he'll get the big guns out, but you have to take the territory, right? The general does the strategy, he takes out the big guns for you, and then you, the troops, charge out of the trenches, run over the enemy, stab the bastards, kill the bastards, take the territory, control the territory. That is what the troops do. And so there will be a time, and that time is very, very close upon us. So when they say, trust the plan, yes, trust the plan, but be ready. So then there is the final part, the final of the three messages that the Q phenomena brings us. The third one is, where we go one, we go all. Now, stop and think about that. I always thought of that as a kind of, three musketeers, or four musketeers, or three, four. One for all and all for one. Sounds very chummy, matey. We're all in the struggle together. We're all, we're all comrades, and that's, or whatever you want to call it. And we're all in the struggle together. But it's much more than that. When you really stop and look at it, first, it's two phrases. One is, where we go one. Where we go one. We go all. Where we go one. Actually, technically, that doesn't make sense. Where we go one. It's not English, right? But stop and think about the Q phenomena. What is Q all about? Right? The concept of Q is that Donald Trump knows what to do. He's able to bring down the cabal. He's able to bring down all the rotten nastiness. How is he in the deep state? He's always one step ahead. Why is he one step ahead? Because he's got someone working with him. Someone who knows who's doing what and how to do it and all of this. Is it a group of people, top people working with him? Some people think it's John F. Kennedy's son, didn't really die in a plane crash, and he's come to avenge his father, who was killed by the same people that we're fighting against. Right? The cabal, the Rothschilds, who he nicked their money. Right? Who are the two presidents took their money, and what happened? They both got assassinated. Right? So, this is there are different theories. Nobody knows, but this is the whole concept that Donald Trump, someone is working with him. Right? So when you think about this, where we go one, where we go one. So when you're looking at Donald Trump from Q perspective, he's not one person. He's more than one. He's we. He is the physical embodiment of other things, other entity, of another entity. So where we go one is himself. He is one, but he is the embodiment of more than one. You see? Where we go one. So wherever we go in this context is wherever he goes. That is the we, it's not us. It's the Q we, right? Where we go one, where Donald Trump goes, we go all. That's us. We go where he goes. And the message is, what is the message? It isn't one for all and all for one. The message is, follow the leader. Follow the leader. Have faith in the leader. Because what happens, right? People, they get messages and things are happening, or things are not happening, things are not happening. And, well, why is nothing happening? Why? Trump said this, but he hasn't done that yet. Well, why has he got so-and-so? Why is he working with so-and-so? We know that person's a deep stater, this, that, and the other. Oh, globalist, he's messing with the globalists. What's going on? Right, the message is, follow the leader, have faith in the leader. Have faith in the plan, also have faith in the leader. That's the message of Q. So there's a parallel to that in the Bible, right? So this is a message to us as well. This is a coded message to us, right? The people, God's people, were in slavery in Egypt. And he rose up a leader for them. His name was Moses. And Moses fought off the Pharaoh, the representative of the evil state, right? He fought him off, and he got his people out, and they were going to the promised land of Canaan, flowing with milk and honey, but to get there they had to go through the desert, through a thorny path, right? And there are thousands of them had to go through the desert. It was a 6-week journey through the desert. Do you know how long it took them? 40 years. Why did it take 40 years? Because they kept losing faith in their leader. Well, they, in the middle of the desert, oh, we're hungry, kids are crying, we haven't got any nappies, right? Whatever, And so they would lose faith in it, and they would rebel a bit or whatever. And every time they did this, things went wrong. And so the message, there are many messages in the story of Exodus, if you read it, where basically the people are being told, have faith in the leader. You have to have faith, right? And so that's not easy for people to do, because we're generally not very faithful, because, well, we've been learned not to trust anyone, right? So, it's not an easy thing to do. And so, but if there is a plan, then there has to be a man at the end of the day. And so, and that this is the message of where we go one, we go all. Where Trump goes, we go. He is the sign. He is the sign. You follow the leader. So what does it mean? It's not just a mean of believing in the leader. No. Following means there will be a time of action. There will be a time to move. Right? The general takes the big guns, fires them at the enemy, takes out their big guns, and then the troops move. Right? And so this is the message. Take the cue from the leader. Take the cue from the leader. Right? That's, I think it was Jamie said it in Shakespeare's Henry V. What is it? I forgot what it was now. My cue is my cue is imperial, or something like that. So those of you who have talked with Jamie will know what I'm talking about. So take the cue from the leader. There is a cue there. There's a clue and a cue. So you have to take your cue from the leader. Yes, there is a time to move, because the general can't take the enemy out by himself. There comes a point when the troops have to move and claim liberty, claim freedom, because now we are in a position now where we have been attacked, and it is a takeover. We are experiencing a takeover. The enemy has moved, right? They've made the move, but But the question is, when do you make your move? You take the cue from the leader. And that's what's happening in America. We'll talk about that at another point. Phrase, the other slogan or whatever in the Q movement is the Great Awakening. The people think the Great Awakening is it's like a noun. It's not a verb or anything. It's just the Great Awakening. But it's actually part of the message, right? The three main message to the troops, to all of us, right? So, believe in the plan, where we go one, we go all, and the Great Awakening. There's a message there for us. What is the Great Awakening? And of course, when is the Great Awakening started? Is it going to happen? Has it happened in the past? What is the Great Awakening? So this is the other thing. So the Great Awakening, basically, the Great Awakening is the final stage in the three-stage plan. And the Great Awakening, when does it happen? Well, it's happening right now. At this very, very moment, the Great Awakening is happening. And this actually, see, people are terrified, they're worried, oh my God, why am I in my home? Why are you in your home? I'll tell you why you're in your home. Because you're spending hours and hours on YouTube watching conspiracy videos. And you're communicating with people on your social media, talking, sharing that information that you're learning, and on Twitter and so on, or that you've learned over the years, and putting it all together, and you're seeing the picture, and it's all coming together, and suddenly you can see what's going on. Suddenly, not just you, but people all over the world, even the people who don't believe it, are waking up to it. And suddenly, what we are seeing, not just the theories, because there have to be conspiracy theories, because there are conspiracies, and conspiracies don't tell you what they are. It's the whole point about a conspiracy. So everyone has to have a theory and try and get the picture. So the only people who don't like conspiracy theories are the people who are doing the conspiracies and their agents. Right? So the Great Awakening is happening right now. They're not just... They're also learning or seeing who the evil people are. Because the evil people are now making their move. And suddenly they come out. They're exposed. The Americans are shocked. They're looking at the Democrats. And the Democrats are getting worse and worse and worse. They're becoming literally demonic. You don't have to be religious to see the demonic nature of the key figures in the Democratic Party and the way they're behaving. The evil, nasty way that they're behaving is shocking Americans to the core. And there's a whole movement in America called the walk-away movement. People walking away from the Democratic Party because people have always seen the Democrats as American, who have America's interests at heart. They just have a different ideology than the Republicans. But now, oh no, people can see that they've been taken over. They've been taken over. They have literally been taken over by the Chinese communists, by the Chicoms. They are now the Trojan horse of not only the Chicoms, but the elites, the dirty, nasty people. So, and people's eyes are being opened and they're shocked, and they're seeing the media, and they're seeing the lies, the pure shit. And you don't have to be, particularly political. You don't have to be like a Brexiteer, or a right-wing thinker or whatever to see this. People are seeing it and their eyes are being opened, and the ones who are not seeing it are the ones who don't want to see it, or the ones that just, looking at their own, they just don't know what they're doing. They're just brainwashed, or they're just running around. And so this is what's happening. This is the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening to the evil, but also to the good. Because once you see what the evil is, you come to understand the good. This is the Great Awakening. And for Christianity talks about the resurrection. Now, some people think, people are gonna, the graves are gonna open and bodies are gonna go flying up through the air and meet Jesus in the sky. Some Christian people believe this, literalist belief. Other people see it as a spiritual resurrection of one sort or another. There are all kinds of views about this, but however, it's from our perspective here, it's an opening of the eyes to good and evil. What is good and evil? And then also we look at ourselves as well. So it's not just about other good people and bad people, it's also about ourselves. How we react to things and how we behave under these circumstances. We can see ourselves as well. So, but more than that, more than all of that, the Great Awakening is also a political awakening, particularly in America. It's an awakening to the founding fathers, the founding spirit of the nation, and that founding spirit of the nation is the only thing that is going to save them. That is the Constitution, the First and the Second Amendments, and faith, God, and the right to bear arms, and the family. People are understanding these are the roots of their nation, and they know that this is the only thing that is going to save them. And these are the people who support Trump. These are the people who are the wheels on the Trump train. And they are the people who are burning the coal through the power of prayer. Trump has people come in and pray over him. And this is kind of strange for a lot of people. But he gets Christian ministers and they lay hands on him and they pray. I mean, it's kind of strange for a lot of people, but he does. That happens, right? So, and he's been more and more talking about this. And some people will have a cynical view. He's just trying to keep his base happy. And obviously there's truth to that. But the point is, because this is what America is rooted in, and this is what will save America. And we will not be saved unless America is saved. Because this is our weak point. We don't have what they have. We don't have the Constitution. It's been taken away from us. And we don't have the Second Amendment. It's been taken away from us. Because now in America, if you're observing American politics, mostly the Democrat governors and lawmakers in America are trying to pass laws to restrict. They're using the virus as an excuse to pass laws to restrict the freedom of speech, freedom of faith, and take away people's guns, because they know the Chicoms are coming. You think that is dramatic? Well, it's not. I'm telling you it's not, and I will show you in other times why it's not. But the Democrats are the doorway for the Chicoms to come into America. And the Chicoms are the instruments of the Cabal. That's what's going on. And so the only thing that will save America is Americans are now coming out on the street. And they're in the Democratic, particularly places where they're trying to stop them from opening up, because they want to keep them locked down, to take away their liberties, passing laws and so on, corrupt the voting system and get Trump out. This is what's going on in America. Now people are coming out, they're beginning to say no, but they need Trump to lead them, and he is doing that. But we are weak because we do not have our Constitution. It's been taken away from us. We do not have the Second Amendment. And why the Second Amendment? Why are guns important? People don't like guns, but in America, it's the one thing that will save them, because they say they defend the Constitution with their guns. You can go out on the street and claim your right to free speech, like Amy or Tommy Robinson or any of these people. What do you find? Well, you find them in court, you find them in jail before you can say Tommy Robinson. There's no constitution and no guns to protect them with. That is the bottom line. And that is what we need. We have to restore it in order to be able to liberate our country. There is no other way. It's the only thing in America. The only thing they have is Trump, the Constitution, their faith, their families, and their guns to protect those things. And so they are now being led out. Trump is now leading them out. Carefully, bit by bit, but they don't need a lot of leading, because they know what their rights are. He's just allowing them, whilst the Democrats trying to stop them, he's saying, no, go ahead. So they're taking their cue from Trump. They're taking their cue from Q. So the question is for us. The question is for us. The United Kingdom. Where are we going to take our cue from? We only have one possibility right now. There is only one candidate. They tried to kill him. Right? He was resurrected on Easter Sunday. How about that? Yes, Boris was in the grave. He was in the tomb of St. Thomas's for 3 days and nights, just like Jesus. And he was resurrected on the Easter Sunday. I mean, there are leftists going mad. They're saying it was all a put-up job. He knew it. He came out on Easter Sunday just, for dramatic effect. Well, he might have done. I don't know. But whether he did or didn't, the symbolism is there. And I'm almost certain that he was in a bad way. And who saved him? Was it the NHS? Or was it Donald Trump? Was it both? That, my friends, is for another video. But whilst the Americans are starting to move, we're going to have to move quite soon. But in war, timing is everything. You have to wait for the leader. And at the moment, we only have one leader. Well, actually, we have two. If one of them fails, we've got another one. We all know who that is. So, ladies and gentlemen, where we go one, we go all. Right? But the question is about timing. Because if you move at the wrong time, you get taken out. If you leave it too long, you get overrun by the enemy. This is a very serious matter. But what I'm saying to everyone is be ready. We have leaders. We have strong, powerful people. We know who they are, right? They've proved themselves over the Brexit period. We know who our fearless leaders are. And so the question is, though, we have to be ready. And not only that, we have to demand our Constitution and our right to bear arms has to come back. Otherwise, we cannot defend our freedom. We think, oh, we're just little old Britain. We're English. We don't need that. Oh, yes, we do. Look what happened with the rogue parliament last year. What if we fell to the socialists? We'd be screwed, utterly screwed. We'd still be in the EU. That would be the end. We'd have been sucked into their evil empire. We dramatically, through a lot of sacrifice, we achieved that goal. But we're still fighting for it. There's still a little way to go. So that is the message today from Q, right? The message is in the 3 slogans of Q. So thank you very much. And sorry about the surroundings, they're not as good as they should be. But remember this, Restoration Bill 2020, it's not there for decoration, because we don't, our constitution has been taken away. We need something to mobilize ourselves around. Our leaders get taken out one by one. So there has to be something through which we can strengthen ourselves, through which we can unite. All our leaders fight different fights and different fronts. But we have to have something through which everyone can, a standard to bear, a flag to carry, as well as our national flag. And the other thing I will tell you, the amazing thing about Easter Sunday and Boris's resurrection, it was April the 12th. And April the 12th in 1606, an amazing thing happened. It was James VI of Scotland, also James I of England. He inherited the crown of England and Ireland in 1603. And on 1606, on April the 12th, the same day that Boris came out and appeared to the people, he created the Union flag. And he created the Union and brought those 3 nations under the crown. They were still 3 separate nations, politically, but they all came under the crown. The kingdom, the United Kingdom, was born on April the 12th, 1606. That's the same day that Boris was resurrected from the grave, just like Jesus was resurrected from the grave. Well, obviously Boris is not the Messiah, the second coming, or we would be in deep trouble, but the symbolism is there, the parallels are there, the messages are here. It's not just Q. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed today's message. God bless America. God bless the United Kingdom. 2 nations, 1 constitution.